Hi there everyone, Lars here with another Writer's Rant, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers, because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends, and oh boy, today's rant. It's like the stars aligned and I knew exactly what I had to pontificate and rant about, because this just ticks me off. When writers do not allow their characters to make mistakes, or even worse yet, when their characters make mistakes and there are no consequences for them. When watching the most recent season of RWBY, one of the things that just made me stop and walk away from my computer, which I had to do multiple times throughout the season because there was so much stupid stuff going on, was when Yang, Blake, and Weiss are like, RWBY's never done anything wrong. She's not broken. She doesn't make mistakes. She's a great leader. Hello? Did we miss out on what happened in Volume 8? Are we not going to acknowledge that almost all the problems of that battle were caused not by Ironwood, but by Team RWBY? And by extent, RWBY herself, either by doing them or because she is the leader and must therefore take responsibility for the actions of the team that she is supposed to lead. This would have been an absolutely great moment in Volume 9 when the Curious Cat calls her out on all of her mistakes and BS, for her to really think about what did I do wrong, and with the help of her friends and sister to bound back by realizing I made those mistakes, how can I fix them, and becoming a better leader with good communication between the teammates, which has not been had since Volume 3. This is just so frustrating because all of the things that could have allowed these characters to improve, to overcome all of the accidents, all of the mistakes, all of the things they've done horribly wrong for the past few seasons, they could have overcome all of that to become the huntresses and the heroines that we need them to be. But that is not what happened. The series flat out says we didn't do anything wrong and moves on. Screw the consequences for all of the thousands of people who we led to their deaths because we couldn't tell Ironwood the truth and made everything worse by continuously lying and not actually working together. Let's just say this made me really, really angry. It can be great for characters to make horrifying mistakes, either intentionally or unintentionally. And yes, I know mistakes are the unintentional things, but there's sometimes where characters do really stupid things on purpose because they think they can get away with it, and then the natural consequences flow. That is really good writing. That is relatable writing. That is realistic. And when you put that into a fantasy story, it helps to ground the audience in, oh, this makes sense. And the audience wants to see consequences. They don't want a pristine, perfect character. They don't want a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu leading the charge. They don't. The people who do want that, go back to your silly little fanfiction that no one reads. Now, as I said, the stars aligned right after going through just this monstrosity that was RWBY Volume 9. I mean, there were some good things, and I'm going to get to that eventually in another video. But Nathan messaged the writing group and was talking about all of the mistakes that he was listing out and all of the weaknesses and problems that one of his characters needed to overcome within the book that he's writing. And it was quite an extensive list. And oh boy, I feel sorry for this character and all the things that she's got to go through. But this was perfect. This is the kind of stuff that we need to see. As a writer, you need to take stock of all of the weaknesses, problems, mistakes, and so forth that your characters have, that they've committed. What are their sins? What are their foibles? What are their weaknesses? What are their banes? You need to understand these things because it actually gives you so much to work with to make them a way more engaging character and to really give them a fun, heroic arc by overcoming all of these things. Now then, you don't have to solve every single problem that a character has. Unless your story is all about a character becoming perfect, well then fine, but you don't need to solve every single problem. Like, for one of my main characters, he's got a problem that he wets the sleeping bag whenever he goes camping. It's just a silly little thing that unfortunately happens to this guy, and no, I'm not going to magically solve it by the end of the story, because that's not one of the big things that needs to be focused on. It's just a little embarrassing issue that he has. Instead, what's far more important is, I've been lying to people. Oh my gosh, I've been manipulated. I made the wrong choice and went to the wrong place at the wrong time, and now someone is really suffering for it. What can I do to no longer be a gullible person? What can I do to make up for the time that was lost? What can I do to help save this person? What can I do to become better? And what should I do with the people who manipulated me? Do I forgive them? Do I fight them? Do I just cut them out of my life? Those are necessary questions that help to lead the character on an interesting arc of improvements. So I would highly recommend that you take a page out of Nathan's book, figuratively speaking in this case, where you write out the different problems that your character is struggling with. Write out the different weaknesses that they're struggling with. What kinds of mistakes have they made? And then rank them. What are the most important? What needs to be overcome? What should be like a little small side quest? Or what could be something that happens slowly over time? Or it's just like a nice little thing that happens in a chapter where a character like maybe returns the candy bar that they stole, or comes back many chapters later and is like, I stole a candy bar. I'm really sorry. Here's the money. What can I do to make up for what I did? And this is nothing huge, but it's just like, oh, that happens in a chapter. Next chapter, they're like scrubbing dishes. And then the owner's like, you know what? You paid your time. Thank you for being honest. I hope you've learned your lesson. Oh, I have. And then they go on and beat the bad guy. Like, it's just a small little side thing, but it's something that just makes the character improve and makes the audience just feel better. By being able to list out all of the weaknesses and problems and banes and whatnot that your character is struggling with, it helps you to organize what is most important and focus on those things to actually solve them. Because if you don't solve them, your character doesn't really grow. Instead, the plot just simply progresses. And people who just read for the sake of the plot are historians. Most people who actually get engaged in a story want to connect with the characters, even if they're not writers and fully and intricately understand the whole process of shaping a story and crafting the characters within and giving them all their own little personal arcs. That's really not important. It's not your job as the writer to communicate all of that. Your job as the writer is to show your characters being themselves and growing to become better individuals throughout the course of the plot, whatever the plot is. And if you can't do that, if you cannot address these weaknesses, if you cannot address these mistakes, if you cannot rectify them in any sort of way, all you are doing is just communicating a plot. And most people will check out because that's not interesting, because most people, unfortunately, don't like history. I'm the weirdo who loves history all the way to the moon and back, but even then, I get frustrated, like I did with RWBY, when they don't address the characters' mistakes in any sort of meaningful way that allows those characters to grow. Why? Well, for one thing, I care about those characters thanks to what Monty Oum gave us in volumes 1 through 4. But I haven't seen those characters grow since volumes 1 through 4. And that is so frustrating, and especially then when that opportunity is given, when all those mistakes and accidents and horrible problems and communication issues and personality issues are brought up, and they decide to ignore them because you're always the best. No. Stupid frickin' I'm going to validate you. No! Validation is earned. Your progress is earned in life and in fiction. If in life, we always make fun of the people who just have the yes men around them because we know that they're little man children. They're little, I should say, little man babies and woman babies. Because they obviously have not matured thanks to just always being validated. It's supposed to be earned. And in fiction, it's the exact same way. If a character doesn't grow, and especially by confronting their weaknesses and their mistakes, then they are uninteresting. They become Mary Sues, and Mary Sues are awful character archetypes. So there you have it. That's my rant. Oh my gosh. Well, I am going to now return to way more happy things, such as watching The Dangers in My Heart, which is a fantastic anime that I've been reviewing. If you haven't checked it out yet, please check out that anime. Check out the reviews I've been doing. I've also been getting some books ready to publish. I'll have some more news out for that here very soon, which is going to be absolutely awesome. In the meantime, if you're looking for more solid writing advice, please check out our other videos here on our channel. You can also head on over to our podcast, Camille's Harem. Links for all of that will be in the description below. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want more videos from us, and thank you for joining us on this adventure that we call writing. And until the next video, y'all, hopefully it won't be quite so ranty, and tschüss.